Yo, motherfuckers. I have made the rails, the router sled for flattening the slab, and I'm going to start flattening it. I decided because the actual wood itself is a little bit curved right now. It's gotten a little bit of a curve to it. So I'm going to start by flattening the underside. So I'm just taking my router sled right now. Like I said, the table is pretty much 100% level. And the slab itself is pretty much level. Like it's all, you know, I might take a little bit of time to just level the rails here a little bit extra. Just gotta take it up a tiny notch. As you can see, it's not 100%, so I'm gonna make sure everything is super level, and then we will start shaving down the underside, make it super straight, and then flip it, and then make it straight on the other side again. Got it nice and flat. Now I'm just gonna take some time to sand it all down. And we're probably gonna go with having a coat of epoxy over here as well. A clear coat, just to seal it in. For that we're gonna have to take the old sander out. It's a shame that the 2x4 got stuck in it because we got all of this. But it's gonna look neat anyways when we put the epoxy over it, and when we sand it down it's just gonna look like some natural formations in the wood. And yeah man, I'm pretty stoked. This too is gonna be sawed over, make it straight, and that's gonna be the live edge on that side. Yeah, really happy with that one. So right now I'm going to be sanding it down completely. I'm going to start with 100 grit. I'm going to move up to about 240. And then we're going to apply the stain that I got. It's a really dark kind of stain. I did some research, and apparently you can just stain over the epoxy because it won't penetrate the epoxy. Then we're going to well, before we put the stain on, we need to clean the entire table, wipe down all of the dust, and then apply the stain on, and then I can have epoxy on top of that to fill all of the cracks and voids. I think that's going to be a nice finish. Table is all stained now. It became super dark. I really like that finish. I'm gonna let it sit here for the rest of the day, and I'm gonna head out and go work in the van. Here we go, man. It's the morning after. I just let it sit all night because we were working in the car. So I decided I'm going to sand it down and then probably add another layer of the staining, and hopefully this stain that's on the epoxy goes away. I'm gonna sand it right now, so it'll probably just go away very quickly. And then after the second layer now, I think I will probably just need to wipe it off with something like right after I've added the stain. And then by the evening tonight, we'll be ready to add the top layer of epoxy. There we go, man. All wiped down. I'm gonna add another layer of the stain right now. Hope I made the right amount. My confidence is a little bit bigger now since I got it perfect the last time, but we'll see. I feel like this is a lot though. And there we go. All the epoxy is actually poured. It looked like a lot, but it's definitely probably needed. And so just now hope that it's perfectly level. I checked the level a couple times and it looked pretty fucking good. So hopefully it won't all go off to one side or something. Gotta keep an eye on it. This is gonna be a fucking mess though. I probably should have laid down some newspapers or something. It's kind of stupid just to lay it on there, but it's whatever. It's gonna cure and I will be able to scrape it off anyway. So now I'm just gonna go get some kind of plastic thing and scrape the edges and make sure the epoxy gets everywhere with no like you know, spaces where the epoxy don't get to the wood, like here. So yeah. Alright, it's the moment of truth right now, and I have a coffee cup in my hand, so I need to go like that. And how's it looking? Good looking. It is looking decent. I think I'm gonna have to do another layer because we got some eyes in it. You can see that little dimple right there. I don't know why it ends up like that. Probably maybe somewhere that I have touched it or something. But yeah, it's looking really good though with the top layer of epoxy finish. It always makes it look so fucking smooth. Really nice shine to it. So yeah, I think today is going to be sanding this down yet again, and then another layer of epoxy. Now again, the task is going to be to get this 2x4 off the goddamn table. I placed it a little bit too close to the edge and it got epoxied to the table again. But at least it's the other side this time, so it's not gonna make too much of a difference if I fuck up the table a little bit under here. I already did a little bit here. There was a little piece of wood stuck here as well. It just sucks, man. I need to start thinking about things that can happen like that. But hey, maybe you can learn from my mistakes. Wow, look at that. Yo, I just took some, applied some heat. I used a heat gun. I did some research on the interwebs, and apparently acetone could also loosen up the epoxy. Pro tip for later. I probably should have researched that the last time too, because now I used a lot of heat from this gas heater. Blasted underneath here, and took the knife and just kind of like went back and forth right at the edge, and then just started hitting it from behind, and it cracked right off. Beautiful. Here we go. I have sanded it with all the grits, wiped all the dust off with the air compressor, and it's ready for another lamination. Just gonna have to wipe it down first, but before that I'm gonna go upstairs and prep everything for the final pour. Check this out though. This is how the epoxy just peels right off the slippery tape. do now, I'm gonna save a little bit of the epoxy left in the bucket here. I'm gonna see how it turns out and if there's any spots that I need to fill afterwards, because I measured a little bit more than what I calculated that I needed for about 1 millimeter. So see how this turns out. Before and after epoxy. Just poured everything on there. I can already see that we have a bit of some kind of contamination going on over there, which sucks. Nothing to do with it right now. We're just gonna have to live with it. But I think it's gonna be looking very good. Anyway, it's just a little bit of a pain in the ass that I wiped the entire thing 40,000 times and it still happens. And this is the same place it happened last time, so I don't know what the fuck is going on over there. But it's whatever. I'm just gonna go downstairs now, chill for 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back and look at it. Okay, so this is the result we are left with after second layer of top epoxy. There's a bunch of spots here where the epoxy didn't completely cover it. So I decided I'm gonna wipe it down once again with some 80 grit. I just surface. And we're gonna add another layer. Check it out! The epoxy table is now finished, at least on the top. It's come out pretty beautiful, and we filled in all those voids that were previously wouldn't fill. Although there's a few like small imperfections here and there. I'm just gonna take it. Now I'm just gonna sand the underside, get rid of all the bubbles, and I don't know, but maybe I'm gonna try and sand this away and apply some kind of coat on the other side as well, although this is pretty thick, this epoxy, so it might be a bit tedious. We'll see how we see it peels off. And then if I get this away, I will have exposed the wood, and I got some wood oil that I can put on there. I just finished up cleaning up all of the epoxy mess that's been under here. I used, it actually came in really handy, although this kind of have a love relationship, love-hate relationship with this, because it usually fucks up the wood if you're not careful with it, and it makes a lot of marks. But it was really effective at removing the epoxy, because with just sanding, it would take forever, but I got pretty much all of it off. I think I'm gonna leave the rest of the epoxy that's left on here too, because it looks actually kind of cool, and it's very little. It's just like a blue shade somewhere in the wood. I just finished up with the 60 grit. I gotta move, or the 40 grit rather. I gotta move up to 60 grit and then 80 grit and all the way up to the finest grit I have, which I think is about 400, and then I got some wet sandpapers as well. And we gotta make it as nice as we can while we're at it, because it's looking really good right now, and it's just nice to have a nice finish on the underneath as well. So I'm pretty stoked on that. Fuck yeah, man.